Hello everybody, this is Ice Blood, yet again, welcoming you back to Resident Evil 4. What's on the agenda for today, the 20th episode of this LP? Well, the quick and easy answer is Chapter 4-3, but the slightly more involved answer is the end of the castle. That's right, at the end of this episode we will be saying goodbye to the domicile of Senor Ramon Salazar, and heading into Act 3 of the game. But before we do that, before we say goodbye to this place forever, we must deal with the most ostentatious puzzle of the entire game, possibly the entire franchise. A gigantic, moving statue of Ramon Salazar himself. No castle would ever be complete without a giant statue of its owner, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You might think we're supposed to shoot that lever to get it to work. I certainly thought so, but as it turns out, the way to handle it is to let the enemy walk up to it and very pointedly not touch it to activate it. That lever starts the puzzle itself. Now obviously we need to get out, but there's no pathway, and Leon can't swim. Of course, we would know if we'd taken any damage when fighting Del Lago that is a fallacy. Of course Leon can swim, but he can only swim when it's convenient for the plot. And when it's convenient for the plot that he be trapped by water, of course, he cannot swim. That's just how things go. So we need to get the bridge back. How do we do that? Well, flip switches and rampantly murder cultists. You saw that coming, didn't you? That's right. There are a couple switches that we need to hit. And in order to do that, we need to use Senor Salazar's hands. This whole thing seems very convoluted, and as always when dealing with situations like this, I wonder why it exists in the first place. Surely if you wanted contingency plans in order to ensure that any intruders get stuck, like a security system or something like that, you wouldn't want to have a contingency plan in place that would allow them to escape at all, right? Wouldn't that be how it worked? I mean, sure, maybe it's like, oh, you want to have some sort of method in place for your friends or servants to activate the bridge when it goes out, stuff like that. So you'd want to give them some way to do it. But I don't know, the whole thing seems really weird to me, and I'm not sure why you'd even bother. Then again, I wonder why you would bother to have a giant statue of yourself made. Particularly since, I mean, Salazar said that he's only 20 years old, right? He didn't always look like that. So I would assume that this statue was made relatively recently, because he looks exactly like he does in the game right now. He couldn't have had it made much earlier. And yet something that huge would take quite a long time to build, wouldn't it? So it had to have taken, what, a year or two, maybe? I'm just wondering when, how, and why he had this made. I'm also wondering if it's actually awesome, and I'm just giving him a hard time because I don't like him. Because that is very true. When it comes to the bad guys in this game, Salazar's probably my least favorite. I like Sadler, and I kind of like the cultists too. I could do without Salazar. I even like Verdugo, the guy that he sent to kill us in the boiler room. That guy's pretty cool looking. He's pretty badass. Salazar himself, though, just kind of a freaky little bastard, and yeah. So I'm not really much inclined to give him the benefit of the doubt in any situation whatsoever. There's an old adage that I've heard where people will hate a good villain, but love a great one. Salazar's a good one, because I hate him. Granted, Sadler isn't much better. I just feel like he's got something to him. A little more gravitas, a little more, I hesitate to say swagger, but something along those lines. Salazar is just an annoying little twit, and I'd rather not deal with him. And the fact that he had this giant statue of himself made into a puzzle? A bit much, dude. Just saying. You probably could have used those pesetas for something a little more useful. Or a little more awesome. You had that minecart roller coaster. Maybe you could have made that more interesting. Oh. Okay, I guess this'll work. Now see, this is a cool bit of a dramatic set piece at work here. I wonder at the purpose of it. Why is this here? Why does it exist? And see, like right okay, that was pretty badass, alright? I love this part. This is cool. What's the purpose? Is it meant to do that? Did it malfunction? How much will it take to replace that bridge?
So nice you could join us, Mr. Scott Kennedy.
You again.
The sacred rite that's about to begin at this tower shall endow the girl with magnificent power.
Blah,
she will join us,
blah, blah, boring.
This is no ritual. It's terrorism.
Ooh.
Isn't that a
You tell him,
popular
Leon.
word these days? Not to worry. We've prepared a special ritual for you.
Oh. Oh, thank you. Little snot. That was awesome. Hell yeah, Leon. Not sure if that did any lasting damage, but hey, what the hell, that was pretty awesome. Here we have... Well, it's gonna start off with what I tend to think of as the Donkey Kong section. You'll see why in a second. You notice that Salazar keeps changing what he decides to call us? Mr. Scott. Which is weird, because why would you refer to somebody through their middle name? Mr. Kennedy, which makes a little more sense. And then Mr. Scott Kennedy right now, like he changes up how he decides to call us depending on how angry he is, or arrogant he is, or what, I don't know. Whatever. The only thing he won't call us is by our first name. See there? That's what I meant. Barrels. Because clearly that's how you want to deal with invaders. Barrels. Okay, actually that works pretty well. Yeah, that'll do. That will do. Let's not do that again. I want one of those scythes. I've always had a thing for scythes. Not sure what that says about me, but it would have been really cool to have that to like replace my knife or something. Or maybe I think we've discussed this, have a mini game or like a DLC pack where you get to play as one of the cultists. Like there's the mercenaries. It's a mini game that's unlocked after you beat the game, where you basically just rack up points based on how many enemies you kill. Wouldn't it have been cool if one of the characters you could play as was one of the cultists, and their melee item, instead of a knife, is a scythe, or, you know, a pitchfork, or whatever, you know. Maybe there were different loadouts depending on the costume that you use, something like that. Like, that'd be awesome. Mercenaries has become a very popular minigame. We've seen it in a few of them now. This one, the current iteration started with this game, but we've seen it in 5, we've seen it in 6. I would be very surprised if it isn't in 7. Be cool to, you know, play as the enemy. I think that could be really fun. I think there is a mode in 6 that actually lets you play as the zombies, but I'm not sure if I'm thinking about the right thing. Or how it works. I've played 6 the least when it comes to the modern Resident Evils. I do actually like it, which I think I mentioned before, definitely puts me in the minority. Resident Evil 6 is certainly not the most popular iteration of the franchise. In fact, I'd probably say it's one of the least popular installments of the entire franchise. And that's saying something, because there are a lot of spin-offs. Well, not a lot, there's a couple, and they're not exactly very well received, but I'm pretty sure that 6 is probably lowest on the totem pole in terms of general popularity. But I like it, and I think part of it is they have a few different modes, and one of them is I think it does let you play as the enemy, which is really cool. But the thing is, 6 brings it back to zombies. Now, and here we're dealing with these cultists. And I think that the cultists allow for a bit more variety when it comes to what you fight as. Like, wouldn't it be cool if there's a plaga that's infected your body, and there's a chance when you die, say, that it, you know, manifests, and then you have a special melee kill option, you know, depending on, again, part of the loadout of their arsenal that they're using. Depending on which one you are, you get a different plaga to play as. Wouldn't it be cool if you could play as the Scorpion? Like, you're just, like, wandering around, like, oh, that'd be so cool. Oh, why didn't they do that? I should be working at Capcom. That'd be freaking awesome. Well, okay, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't be working there. I'm sure they have no shortage of ideas. Still, oh my god, that'd be great. Oh, why didn't they do that? Oh well, pipe dreams and more pipe dreams. This game has seen all the innovations it's gonna get. 'Tis unfortunate, yes, but, well, I suppose we'll make do with what we have, and hope that Resident Evil 7 brings back some cultists for us to play as. You know, just to spice things up. I mean, by this point, that would be a throwback. I mean, this game is 9 years old. It's not exactly the innovation of the entire series anymore, like it used to be. It's been a decade now. So, you know, it's kind of nostalgic to bring back cultists or the plagas or whatever. Elements in this game count as classic at this point. I mean, almost. I mean, how long has the series been around? 20, 30 years? 30 seems a bit much. I think it's 20. That means like half of the series lifespan has had this game in its existence. This is definitely a classic at this point. So, you know, just saying. I would not be upset if they brought back the plagas.
What are you selling?
I'm selling a couple things.
Is that all? Thank you.
Ooh, 20,000. Yes, that is very nice. I approve of that. Now, we already have a rocket launcher. What could we possibly buy from him?
Is that all?
We're gonna buy ourselves some healing items since we used up them all. Now, there was a first aid spray sitting by the typewriter there. We do not want to pick it up first because he will only ever let you have 2 first aid sprays, and that's only if you have no other healing items in your inventory. So if we pick that up, we'd only be able to get one more. Since we got our 2 from him before picking this up, now we've got 3. So just kind of gaming the system a little bit. We also got ourselves a couple capacity upgrades for the Magnum and the rifle, and now we're decently well equipped again. It's like mostly we've got TMP ammo. That's not bad. I'd prefer some of the other stuff, but I guess we'll make do with what we got. Seems to be the theme of the episode. Now then, what could be behind this door? Let's find out. Where do you come from? You were not there when I first walked through the door. That is not... You just... Oh my god.
You just missed her. The ritual is over. She left with my men to an island.
What?
The ritual was to put Ashley on a boat? Alright, sure.
It's time I paid my due respects towards her impressive and stubborn will.
Oh, I appreciate it, but you really didn't have to. You creepy little shit. I actually kind of feel bad for that dude. I feel like he didn't sign up for this. This was not in his contract. Oh my. Good lord. This is attractive. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we must defeat Ramon Salazar.
Monsters.
Now that
Something one less
he's
to worry about.
equipped himself with tentacles. Now look, this is a Japanese game. I know what happens when the Japanese invoke tentacles. I'm glad that Ashley's gone right now. Whoops. Wait, I didn't have to dodge anything. Alright, fair enough. Now, first thing we want to do in this boss fight is to head over to the corners and deal with these. They will not disappear indefinitely, but they will go away for a second. It'll give us time to deal with whatever the holy hell that thing is. This is one of those bosses where you don't want to use your rocket launcher immediately. We're waiting for something to be vulnerable before we bother with that. Because you can imagine, this thing moves around a lot. You can imagine trying to shoot this eye. Okay. Wow. Fun. Okay. Let's try that again. And this time, how about we don't fail? How about that? Let's try that. Anyway, you can imagine trying to hit that eye with a rocket. Because remember, the rocket travels very slowly. And so if you're not dealing with a target that's standing still, it's very difficult to actually land a hit. Here, we discover that the best method of dealing with these tentacles is actually the striker. You're close enough at these edges here to take full advantage of its firepower, and 2 shots will take them down. Now, let's see about the eye. Oh, that didn't do it. There we go, that's what we're looking for. Now this time, let's not get hit by that. There we go. Let's avoid getting eaten. And here we have the tentacle come back to play. I don't want to deal with that again. Told you they wouldn't be gone forever. That was entirely unnecessary. Let's climb back up before we have to deal with the scorpions. I'd rather not to deal with them. I'll be honest, you know, in the beginning of this series, I made a point of handling the bosses without rocket launchers, because that seemed the more interesting way of dealing with them. It kind of showed like how the game is quote-unquote supposed to be played. I wanted to show the strategies you use with the regular arsenal, so that you could see just how much damage it would generally take to kill something, something big. You know, not just dealing with regular enemies. How many shots does it take to handle one of these things? And that worked for a little while, but now we're getting into the big stuff. Now we're getting into the really big bosses, and it's getting to the point where usually, no matter what you're dealing with, you have enough money to get yourself a rocket launcher. Honestly, with how many enemies you end up fighting, you're not gonna have yourself in a situation where you don't have 30,000 to spare on a rocket launcher. Not only that, but you've got a big enough case that you can hold one. And so this is the moment you wait for. You wait for Salazar to reveal himself and shoot down the rocket launcher, and there he goes. Normally, of course, standard strategy, if you don't have a rocket launcher, or you just don't want to use one for various reasons. Maybe you're doing a challenge mode or something, or you just don't like using rocket launchers because you think it's cheap or something, which, you know, I can't necessarily blame you. That's when you want to unload. That would usually mean the broken butterfly or the rifle. Obviously, with how far away he is, it wouldn't be best to use the striker. You don't really want to use the handgun either. You basically want to save all of your big ticket weapons for him. Like, you don't want to use your Magnum or, you know, well, I guess Magnum's the main thing. I don't want to say that you don't want to use your rifle on regular enemies, because, well, why not? That's kind of part of what that's for. You definitely don't want to use your Magnum on regular cultists. You can take them out pretty easily with just about any weapon, including the knife, if you know, decide you're feeling daring. Save your Magnum ammo, though, because that is basically always going to be your boss killer. If you're not going to use a rocket launcher, then definitely use the Magnum. Wait. Okay. We went from having no healing items to having 4. I like that. I like it a lot. See what's down here. You can obviously come down here during the fight if you're feeling daring or you're running low on supplies. Let's fully reload. Now, move everything to where it needs to go. And really, that's about it for the castle. Salazar was the main set piece. Kind of fits, he was the owner of this castle after all. And really, all we're going to be doing for the tail end of this video is escaping. So now that I think we've basically picked up everything. Now we want to go through the big-ass doors that were hidden by Salazar's body. Technically, they were hidden by the Plaga, but I suppose after he merged with it, that did become his body as well. Another green herb and shotgun shells. Very nice. I always love shotgun shells. Let's head on down. There we go. More barrels to destroy. Not even my birthday. Fucking snake. I hate you. I hate you, snake. You hear me? Probably would have been much better served to use the shotgun in this circumstance, but whatever. Ooh, an elevator. Down we go. You might wonder, where are we headed? Well, we are headed down to sea level. Because, of course, as we heard, Ashley's being taken to an island. Well, there's only one thing to do now. We must follow her to that island. But first, we must equip ourselves. And that, of course, means...
on sale, stranger. What are you selling?
Merchant, I have things for you.
Is that all? Thank you.
That was it.
What are you
Now.
buying? Is that all?
Got firepower,
Thank you.
alright. Now, the only thing left for the Blacktail's capacity, so let's just get them all.
Thank you.
There's our exclusive. We can't afford it. But we're basically... The island is where you end up using everything you've got. Some of the hardest enemies in the game are on this island. Even the standard cannon fodder enemies are pretty tough. And the big thing we're going to be dealing with when we go down there, you will find out. Guns. Yes. Cultists finally have figured out how to use guns.
Need a
Well,
ride,
hello,
handsome?
Ada.
Okay.
So we're going to take a ride from Ada to go to the island next time. Make sure to subscribe. See the next video where we tackle the beginning of the final chapters on the island. See you next time. Bye-bye.